How many Christians does it take to answer the problem of evil? The answer is apparently over 25, because these Christians couldn't do it. Alex O'Connor was recently on Jubilee debating a group of Christians. In this video, I will comment on some of the responses. The first claim being debated is that God's existence makes suffering unlikely.
First question to start out with is, what exactly about suffering makes this unlikely on the condition that God exists?
I think the right question would be, what exactly about God is it that makes him not desire suffering? And the answer would be his maximal benevolence and loving nature.
In particular, non-human animal suffering.
I think Alex is specifically bringing up the problem of animal suffering in order to deny the Christian the ability to use the most popular problem of evil defenses, such as the free will defense and the soul-building defense.
One defends that animals will be given a martyrdom status, while God will be able to present himself in a way to animals in the afterlife, such that in the same way you could give praise to a dog, and the dog emotionally recognizes that he's loved.
So basically, this guy's solution is to imply that animals have souls and will be praised in heaven for their suffering. But Christian theology does not support the idea that animals have souls, so this solution is not only ad hoc, but also very ridiculous. Alex has a fantastic response to the idea that suffering is justified because it gets redeemed in heaven.
God might cause them to suffer a bunch and then essentially redeem them in the afterlife, but what for? Like, why do this? If I were to punch you in the face and then give you $20,000 afterwards, you might be grateful for the $20,000, but why couldn't I just give you the $20,000?
That was such a great response. I'm totally borrowing that analogy. Why would a benevolent God allow a suffering and redeem it rather than simply prevent it in the first place?
I want my son to become just like I am, better than I am, I should say. I want him to become the best that he can be. Is it possible for him to reach his potential without suffering in his life?
But if you are truly omnipotent, you could have probably found a way to make your son reach his potential without suffering.
But when a child dies of leukemia, and they're dead.
Could there be a purpose to it? What if the death of the child brings their parents to God?
If you ask me, I think God should have probably thought of a less evil way to make those parents come to him.
That we can't trust our senses because evolution doesn't really care about making truth claims. It cares about surviving.
But all things being equal, it should be obvious that generating true beliefs would be advantageous for survival.
So would you say that there is like some beauty in suffering in some way?
Not always. I don't think a guy who's being eaten by a lion would see much beauty in it.
Well, could you say that the result of why we suffer is because of fall of man?
I didn't fall. Adam and Eve did. It is not fair to subject everyone to suffering over something only Adam and Eve did. The entire idea behind it is fundamentally unfair in many ways.
So what is it about animals that seems so more important than a human?
He is not saying it is more important. He is just focusing on it because traditional theodicies don't apply to animal suffering. So, as you can see, I don't think Christians gave good responses to the problem of suffering, and specifically to the problem of animal suffering. In the future, we will be looking at the rest of Alex's video, so please subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss it. See you next time.